All right, Jay, how do you feel like your defense has performed the first 2 weeks?
Well, we have had moments of really, really good, and then we've had moments that we got to obviously correct. The last game was so up and down. I don't know if it was a huge positive, but there was a lot of good. We needed to do a better job of getting out of some of those third downs, especially the third and longs. We had 6 third and longs that they converted. That's very unlike us. Had we done that the way we were supposed to do it, I think it would have been another dominant performance that we wanted, like the first game.
Talk about Kaden. We're going to talk to him. What does he mean to this defense?
To who, Kaden?
Yeah.
Well, Caden's been outstanding, right? And this is a fun game for him, going back home and playing in front of a bunch of family and stuff. So I'm excited to watch him play in front of family. This should be an unbelievable atmosphere for him. He's tough. He does things right. He bought in right away to us and the new coaching staff and everything we asked him to do. So, I mean, he's really the epitome of what you want to coach as a coach.
Jacob Robinson, Eddie Hecker, Camden Garrett all have an interception out in 2 games. What does it say about those 3 players?
Well, I think Coach Guilford's done a phenomenal job coaching those guys. I think that they're doing exactly what we're asking them to do. They're almost always in the right position. They stay on top in coverages. They know what to jump and when to be aggressive, and they know when to play smart. And so I think those guys have really bought into the way we want them to play, and they're great players. They're instinctive. They're tough. They play the game the right way, and, I mean, they're a real treat to coach.
KJ Jeffrey.
Colin talked a little bit about the pass rush yesterday. I'm curious for you, are you concerned at all about kind of lack of sacks, or do you not really spend that much time thinking about it?
No, I think we've had a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. They've thrown 4 interceptions now to our corners, throwing things off their back foot. I'd rather have turnovers than sacks. I do think that we got to continue to blitz the right way when we're blitzing. We got to do more to confuse quarterbacks. And just with some of our drop 8s and our 4-man pressures, we just got to do a better job of confusing quarterbacks so they're not throwing the ball on time. And sacks will come. I'm not worried. Those are going to come.
How much of Arkansas's offense this year with Enos as the OC has it changed from this film study you had on them last year with Riles?
Well, I think there's a lot of the same things, and then there's a lot of things that are different. The run game's a little bit different right now. The players are very similar. The way we'll attack them, I think, is very similar to some of the things we did last year. So I don't see a drastic departure, but there's enough difference that obviously we got to prepare for it.
Is there any comparable to KJ Jefferson that you've seen in your time of all these years, a quarterback that you've seen going up against, because he's just so unique body type wise?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know if comparison's fair. He's a great player. He throws it good. He's got a good deep ball. He runs it. He's athletic, and he's hard to tackle. He's such a big body. So, I mean, we got our work cut out for us. He's a great player.
You've seen the film of him bouncing off of his sack attempt last year.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of film of him doing that, not just to us last year, but to lots of teams. You watch the first 2 games this year, and there's a bunch of times where people have an opportunity to sack him and they don't. So we're going to have to do a good job wrapping him up. We're going to have to do a great job being physical with him.
Is there like certain keys in terms of defending guys like him that you have to key in on?
Well, you got to be sound. You got to be good with your eyes because, like I say, he can hurt you with his legs and his feet. What you can't do is just start making stuff up and running down at him because then he beats you over the top with the ball. We just need to go in and do what we do, play assignment sound, be physical when we get there. We've been a good tackling defense these first 2 games. We need to do it again.
2 weeks in a row now, your defense has kept under 100 yards. With the good running team that they are, how do you maintain that week 3 now?
Well, we got to be physical. We got to be gap sound, assignment sound, and then we got to do a good job of formation recognition and trying to see beforehand what they're trying to get done. The reality is we got our work cut out for us. This is a legit SEC run game that we're going to have to be ready for.
Were you expecting more disruption, more sacks through 2 games?
Well, I mean, ideally, yeah, we'd have more. I will give the Southern Utah quarterback credit. He did a great job of getting the ball out of his hands. And there was 3 or 4 times where we had him in our grasp, and he did a good job of burning the ball and not taking sacks. But I said it earlier, when quarterbacks are throwing the ball off their back foot, and we're getting interceptions like we are, then you stay the course. You don't make stuff up, because you might have 1 sack one game and you might have 8 the next. You just stay the course.
Any closer with the return for Alfrey? Any closer on that front?
No, we're still at least a couple weeks out, in my opinion.
You talked about in fall camp. You talked about the safety position being by committee. How do you feel about that committee after 2 games and what they've done?
Well, I think they've played solid. They've made some mistakes, but I think they've done a lot of great things too. And I think it's going to continue to be that way. The best guys, the ones that practice the best, are going to play the most. And there's a lot of guys that I trust that go into games and do the right thing.
Thanks, Jay. Good luck this week.